Bleak Faith Forsaken is an upcoming third-person open-world survival horror action RPG that blends dark fantasy with science fiction. You will stand as one of the last frontiers of humanity, known as the Forsaken, against the growing horrors of the architecture of the world, the omnistructure. You will feel the heavy burden of surviving in one of the last remaining outposts, where you're part of a legion of hunters condemned to protect the last vestige of humanity. Alienation, isolation, and dread will bear true meaning as you delve deeper into the manifold halls of the omnistructure. The current projected release date for Bleak Faith is Q2 of 2021, so not that far away, but this is of course subject to change. It will be initially releasing on PC via Steam, but the company has stated multiple times that they do have plans for bringing it to consoles, specifically PlayStation and Xbox, as one of their immediate goals after the PC release. This is exciting news, and I love when most can be included, especially in promising more niche games like this. Bleak Faith will initially be a single-player game due to limited company resources, but the devs have shared with us their love for multiplayer, and mentioned that if they do end up acquiring the necessary resources, they just might find a way to add it. I'll quote one of the devs earlier this year so you can hear it for yourself. Multiplayer won't be with the 1.0 release, but it's something we really want to work on. If the sales are solid and there is a request, I would definitely love to work on it as one of the future updates. So there you have it. For now though, I would look at it as a single player game. Speaking of the company, Bleak Faith is being developed by only 2 developers, who are seemingly dedicated to breaking into the RPG market, where they'll possibly and probably make some AAA companies not look too good. The name of this company is Archangel Studios. Those of you who have been following the channel for a while now know that I'm a huge fan of these smaller, more homemade projects. And despite the lack of traditional game development resources that we see from well-known large companies, it's already been proven to myself that smaller companies are certainly capable of creating games that can go down in history. One of my favorite games of all time is called Outward and was initially developed by 11 people. Outward left a lasting impression on myself and opened up my eyes as to what really makes a game good. And it's certainly not based on the number of employees or the amount of zeros backing a game. Judging by everything we've seen so far, it seems like the 2 developers behind Bleak Faith have a big vision and are actually capable of pulling it off. All of the gameplay we've seen up to this point is from various stages of the game's development. I'm sure you guys know what to look at and what not to look at when judging a game that's not final product. I have to say Bleak Faith is looking really good so far, and if they can get things running smooth, which I'm sure they will, I think Bleak Faith is going to be quite the memorable experience. This game is going to be more hardcore than your average RPG, so if you're looking for a game that's going to hold your hand, you may want to turn away now. One of the more hardcore aspects that was pointed out to us is that there will be no maps, no dots, and no markers. Archangel Studios is relying on us gamers to actually have to use our brains for navigation. This is a feature, or should I say a lack of a feature, that many gamers underestimate the power of. We get so used to looking at a map that pings our exact location and then gives us a golden path to our destination, that we don't even realize that many times features that help us actually hurt our overall experience. Many companies think of us as stupid and lazy, and in turn create dead experiences made for zombies, not Archangel Studios. If you're new to this concept of not being given a mini-map with a quest marker, I encourage you to stay open-minded, and you might find, like I did myself, that a game becomes much more immersive and interactive and rewarding when companies trust us to actually use our own brains to figure things out. Outward was a game that did something similar in this way, and I remember looking for landmarks, getting high ground to survey the land, and even getting lost were some of the best times in the game. Back to the gameplay, one of the first observations that many make is that it gives off a Souls-like vibe. This of course goes for the darker atmosphere, but mainly for the combat. Bleak Faith's combat seems to heavily rely on your keen eye and ability to execute actions with precise timing. As the devs say, expect tight and meticulously crafted and expanded combat that brings tempo and action to this world in amazing quality and detail. We're not shying away from a challenge, and so we're going all in. Fast, responsive, and unforgiving, you will earn and feel every victory. Nothing comes easy. So being successful in combat in this game is going to require you to work for it, pay attention, and adapt, and I couldn't be happier hearing this. All you Souls players out there know what it truly feels like to feel that sense of accomplishment from a game, which can be rare these days, and it looks like Bleak Faith is going to be able to satisfy your gaming needs. Many games these days are created for the masses, and in turn they do sell more, but rarely do they create that hardcore, loyal, dedicated fan base. It seems like Archangel Studios truly cares about creating a product for a specific group of gamers, and I'm excited to be a part of that group. In Bleak Faith, you'll be able to handle combat in a variety of different ways. You can choose to be more stealthy, choose to go more range-based over melee, or even choose technomancy over traditional combat styles. Although we do not know exactly what happens when you die, the devs have stated that it will be punishing. Having real punishment with death is important in many games in order to keep that feeling of alertness and immersiveness. When dying in games has virtually no punishment, like many games do these days, it can be easy to become detached and lazy and not really care about what you are doing. This will not be the case with Bleak Faith. Your life and staying alive carries importance. The world that Bleak Faith takes place in will employ both vast open areas and more linear openness in Metroidvania fashion. The game devs seek to create a strong sense of curiosity for the path not taken, and they want to evoke that same feeling of wonder and excitement that you felt from the first time you played an open world game. I already get this feeling a bit when looking at the gameplay. There's something about this world that pulls me in, and I already find myself curious as to what's over that hill, or what's beyond that distant structure. The homemade feeling that I get with this game adds to my curiosity, for you get the feeling that everything was crafted with passion, making you not want to miss a thing. I could see myself visiting every place possible in the world just to see what horrors await. As a baseline, there's an estimated 30+ hours of content, a deep class system, and a procedural AI system that ensures that no playthrough is ever the same. They have an interesting mechanic going on in the world to help with replayability, and I'll quote the devs for this. How better to experience the unyielding uncertainty of the omnistructure than through a simulated ecosystem of factions and AI groups. Inhabitants of the omnistructure will compete among themselves, grow and expand, change and adapt. The food chain in the ecosystem will, as a result, mold to every playthrough. Example, an apex predator from your last playthrough might have already died out in this playthrough, and you'll never fight it again. This is certainly interesting to think about, and I like how they relate it to the food chain. We don't have much on the classes for the game yet, besides some really old footage, but I will update this as we get more information. More aspects of survival include attempting to resist something called the puppet plague, as well as many other afflictions present in the world that can change the outcome of your journey entirely. This will not simply be a game of killing things. You will be in survival mode outside of combat as well. That will be it for today's video on this promising looking upcoming RPG, Bleak Faith Forsaken. Let me know if you guys feel as excited as I am to experience this unique looking game. I feel like games like this deserve the attention, and it's important that we give it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys ended up enjoying this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's a huge help to my videos. I do all sorts of content on this channel, ranging from live streams to game reviews to game tutorials to lore videos to class guides and much more. I'd love to have some of you guys back for a future video. Until next time.